focusing on academic campuses as industry incubator. The session would be chaired by Mr. Srikanth Talluri, co-convenor of the Education and Skills Panel and founder of 60works. We welcome you onto the stage, Srikanth Garu. We welcome Ms. Madhuri Kalidindi, Vice President Delivery Leadership of Kyndryl India, to come onto the dais. We welcome Mr. P.S. Srikanth, Founding Partner, 108 Capital, to come onto the dais, please. We welcome Mr. Anand, General Manager and Plant Head, ICML Medak ITC Limited, to come onto the dais. We welcome Dr. Jagadeesh Gandla, COO FABA, to come onto the dais, please. Over to you, Srikanth Garu.
So good afternoon, everyone. I know it's the last session, and you all had a really power-packed sessions from morning to the earlier session on pedagogical innovations. And this session is more towards, the theme, the future of work. Yes, we have discussed about the curriculums. We have discussed about the changes to the curriculums, the pedagogical approaches, how technology is giving us new opportunities, throwing away the old, jobs and roles and opportunities. We want to speak about, travel a bit, a quick time travel into the future of how a student's journey would be in a campus. All this while, at least when I was in the college, it was more like exams. Of course, the lectures, exams, and then you pass out of, and of course, small time lab sessions and all. Now things are changing. We have heard Anurag mention about, this project-based learning within their campuses, and also, the kind of create-to-learn models that are emerging from both the UGC models, the institutions, as well as from the emerging edtech platforms. So the students now have opportunities to go and explore these kind of opportunities within their campuses and outside the campus. So the theme of this session, basically at academic campuses as industry incubators, is more focused around problem solving. But what kind of a problem solving? Industry-based problem solving. That is, industries, when they're working on some kind of product and services that they offer and they make money. And they, that's a problem solving, the big time problem solving. And there are hundreds and thousands of millions of parts that get into both the service as well as the product. And these products, the micro products or the Lego building blocks of these products and services, they need continuous upgradation. They need continuous innovation. And this is what is the jobs that we are preparing our students to. So once they graduate, or even after 10 years or 15 years of experience, when we get into any industry, we are either trying to design holistic systems, or as a fresher, you go and create these Lego building blocks, you integrate them. It doesn't matter if it is automobile industry, food processing industry, life sciences, IT, tech, whatnot. So ultimately, it is all about, designing, integrating, and then serving these products to the customers. And today, my distinguished panelists, we have a very good diverse, a portfolio sitting here, wherein Madhuri Garu, thank you for joining. She heads as a Vice President of Delivery Excellence for Kyndryl, which is IBM's next version of IBM. That is 21st century IBM, I should say. Core AI-driven platforms and all. Madhuri Garu, she heads this company, which is having more than 100,000 employees, if I'm not wrong, globally. Yeah, almost. So, and I have Dr. Jagadeesh Gandla joining from FABA, Federation of Asian Biotech Alliance. And his experience as a researcher, and then, with respect to the biotech, life sciences, pharma innovation at scale, starting with the startups to the large scale organizations, is something that can give us a sneak peek of how, the students can get involved from day zero, day one, into creating these Lego building blocks and then trying to integrate them. What kind of a challenges that exists in the real world, that is in the real industry, and if we want to translate them into our campuses, right, sandboxing them or creating some kind of small labs, how things work there. And I have Anand joining us from ITC. My favorite biscuits, bourbon. So I'm looking forward to, visit here. Thank you. So they are into food processing and bourbon, bingo, chips, we all know. Hope my son is not, listening. So we know, that kind of a food innovation versus, again, the packaging versus logistics and, going across the world. There is lot of innovation, use cases, problem statements, problem in the sense, in a positive sense, the business requirement, the user requirement that they solve. And I heard some good, things from him about how these use cases are already being solved, and we'll listen to him and get more insights on how this can be scaled. And Mr. Srikanth, Perepu, he is a venture capitalist, and his experience is something I love, and I always cherish, the conversation with him in terms of learning, because he runs a venture capital 108, funding the early to growth stage startups. Prior to this, with Jubilant Works, Jubilant Foods, and Jubilant Group, he was handling a portfolio, if I remember right, $800 million of fund towards these corporate innovation efforts. So this experience sitting here in the form of, our distinguished panelists is something that today we want to create some meaningful outcome of how to scale this opportunity to institutions which are not in the premium league. So premium league, we all know, we all have that fascination from LKG nowadays of getting into IITs and triple ITs, nothing against them, even I gave those exams. But not everybody would make it there. I made it to Bivaraju Institution, and I'm here with my vice chair who is heading the same institution. So it's not about the premium institution. We all have a halo or something that these institutions are something different. Yeah, definitely, because they're all highly funded by our taxpayer money. But the private institutions, as well as the small-time institutions in Tier 2, Tier 3, today they are well matured in terms of the teaching faculty, in terms of the real infra, in terms of the lab infra, just that we are not aware of that. Today morning, we published one real good report which gives a visibility of what kind of centers of excellence labs exist in the colleges in and around, within Telangana. And you all can grab a copy of it, a soft copy of it, and you can understand. And we want to publish more such from the other colleges as well. So using this existing infra, as well as maybe, we can set up new other infra as well with the help of the corporate. Can we really get the students involved from their year one or semester one into this corporate problem solving? Is the industry ready to source us these problems? Let's see, let's hear from them. If so, what are their requirements? What is that they are expecting from us? So this is all about, academia and industry integration. And to me, industry begins from the college. That's the first industry, because we are there to evolve as professionals, working professionals. So industry begins from college or university, and then you scale to the real industry. So on this note, since we are all fond of, our IT, AI and stuff, and Hyderabad being the, the startup and IT, AI in the focus, we'll start off with Madhuri Garu about how Kyndryl, or in general, the IT or the, the tech companies get into this kind of campus-based incubation efforts. Over to you.
Hello. Thanks a lot, Srikanth, for the fabulous introduction and for having me as a guest speaker here. And thanks to the audience as well. With my experience, we all know the world is changing at a rampant pace, and especially with AI at the heart. And now we are not talking about AI anymore. AI has become a foundation. So from AI, we just moved on to ML, machine language, and then we said, okay, we are moving into neurological stuff, and then we are into generative AI, which are chat GPTs and all are, and now we are talking about agentic AI. So that's the hot topic, because if you turn on any of the news forums or the CNBCs or the top Fortune 500 companies, the entire industry and in fact the world is talking about agentic AI. And that's where most of our companies, any of the multinational company, our clients, customers, they are wanting more of automation. And with agentic AI, what we are talking and what we are solving the problems is, it's just not something to do with automation and agent, but it is a fusion of human touch along with the agents, which is very critical, because all of us are in a fear mode, saying like, okay, what would happen to our jobs tomorrow? But it is not like, of course, there is self-healing, there is everything happening behind, but we still need that human intelligence. And we are considering those agents as a co-worker. Of course, the agent is invisible to us, but they are making it as a part of a team. Because when we go around and go into our pods and pools and work with our teams, it's so nice to visualize saying like, okay, it's a team of 10 people, and 4 of them are physically visible with a name around them. And then we say, my 5 other team members are team 5, team 6, team 7, team 8. They're all the agents. But still, we have the pride saying like, I'm a team of 10 people, because it is a fusion of both individuals and agents. And sometimes it just gets in, am I seeing a sci-fi movie, science fiction movie, where I'm talking and flying in and some robots coming, but I still don't see the robo yet. That's the world that we are talking about. And when the world is becoming so challenging and the clients and the customers are becoming challenging, we need to get to that next level of mode of innovation, because all the while we are talking about, especially when I came out, it was maybe most of us in the room, when we graduated, it was more professors and teachers infusing a lot of knowledge into us, and it was more of a knowledge transfer and making us ready to the world. It can be a job readiness or just how we live in the world. It was more of teaching those skills to us. But now it's altogether a new chapter, where we are talking about educational institutes are no more just parting knowledge or imparting knowledge to them, but we are seeing educational institutes as co-creators, innovation hubs. When they're coming out, trying to see how they can solve the problems. Because that's the talent that we have in the young generation. Because I really get inspired when I see the graduate hires walking in when I do. And because most of, just not Kyndryl, most of the companies and most of the execs, today mentoring, the word mentoring has changed. It is not something that we are always looking up somebody as a mentor who is senior to us or who is a peer to us. We are looking at mentors who are a graduate hire from the campuses, because they have so many ideas in them. And they are teaching us, they're so vocal. They are teaching us saying like, okay, what would be the right for this country or for the world? So that's where we are emerging. And it's so nice if we can establish that connect and bridge between the campuses and the corporate world. And as part of that, just to give a brief 30 seconds, Kyndryl is the largest IT services, infrastructure services provider. If you look at today, we support more than 30 airlines, and more than 40-50% of your financial transactions, it goes through us. So we are the heart of mission critical services that we support to the world. So when we are doing all this nice stuff and all creative and innovative ones, so we need an influx, because the workforce that is coming in, the campuses are the incubators for us, for the corporate world. So as part of Kyndryl, it could be a CSR, or it could be as a campus hiring, because we partner with so many colleges across India. And in fact, I mean, BVRT is one of it. We do have Stanley College. We do have Aditya. We do have Geetam College, where we partner very closely. So as part of their early career, even before injecting them, what we do and what we run programs like is, we do have our integrators like Microsoft, SAP, Google, and any of these mainframe. We're all, I mean, we are industry partners with them. So we tie up with them and we go to the campuses with certain programs like Tech Umbrella Series. That's a program where we are going with almost giving an opportunity to 50,000 students to participate. I mean, in this program, we have the core foundational courses that are offered by both Microsoft and us, or AWS, Azure, any of these, I mean, foundational courses where the students can access, and we give them the 3 months time. And in fact, the recent one that we have done, we started giving access to the professors of the college, at least 5 professors from each of the college, so they can play with it, and then give them access to the co-pilot, and just experience it, how they can take it to the students. After a month and a half with them, then we just go and have the students onboarded onto our sandboxes and onto our environment, and have them play for another 1-2 months, and let them complete these foundational and functional trainings that given to them, because in a gamified experience. So once they get to first level, how they can get to that second, third, and fourth level. And from that 30,000 students, and again, we filtered out saying like final 120 students, and have a hackathon, give them the real life problems, what we face and what our customers face, and let them co-create, collaborate, come together, and then provide a solution, and just feed into the system as to how that can be scaled up and taken into the next. So these are, I mean, so when you see an end-to-end journey of what is happening in these 3 months, it's actually students who are co-creating solutions and products that can be scaled up to the next level. So that's the experience, and that's what we need to take in to at a larger scale, because maybe we are doing in a smaller scale. Probably all of us have to join hands in hand, and then if we can take it to the next level, and that's where we would see students and the institutes as an innovation lab rather than a regular education campus coming out of it. I thought like this is very important for me to share, because today's world need that kind of an education, and that's what will take us to the next level. Because any of the organizations today, we talk about skills as our currency. Our skill is one of our asset, and how can we develop that skill? That needs to be injected right at the institutes. And the other programs that we do is we just do these tech series, try and go and give these tech talk sessions along with our SMEs. It could be with our partners, and it could be our own SMEs who would invest a lot of time in hand-holding, mentoring the students, and coaching and taking to the next level.
That's real good insights with the current state of what's happening with respect to IT or the technology, information and intelligent technology, workforce readiness, and how industry is really collaborating and integrating into the academic workspaces. Do you think the similar kind of a situation exists with respect to the life sciences? Because yours is a wet lab scenario, so I want to hear more.
Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Jagadeesh Gandla. I'm kind of representing industry, academia, government as well at Federation of Asian Biotech Association. What we do is we do policy making for several governments, how to have biotechnology policy or antimicrobial resistance policy. We all saw COVID, right? And the next pandemic that we are going to see is antimicrobial resistance. And we all take antibiotics. We all eat chicken, which are all fed on antibiotics. We all use water, some or the other, fisheries are fed with antibiotics. So like that we do policy making. And the second umbrella is FABA Academy. In the academy, we try to empower students as well as industry insiders, mainly, how can they get a job? Or otherwise, if somebody is in the job, how they can upgrade themselves. And I mean, today's focus is more on students and academic institutes, right? couple of trends that we see at the top level is that, biotech is a sector that has evolved now, especially after the COVID, and it's going to stay. It's not like a fad, it comes and goes. We may say AI wave and everything is happening, right? But biotech is also silently building up in the back end. Maybe AI for use in biotechnology, something like that. And especially after these vaccines that are being done in Hyderabad and many therapeutics that are being developed, a lot of development is happening at the biotech space. But on the other aspect, if you look at maybe if somebody knows Chandrababu Naidu's vision long time back, that the biotech boom happened, biotech boom, boom, boom. We all were part of biotech boom. But when we finished our masters or bachelors or even PhDs, we didn't know what biotechnology was. Even the term definition, we didn't even understand. And many colleges came at the time, had biotechnology as a course. But with time, what you realize is that your IT graduates were getting a lot of salaries, and your biotech graduates are not getting proper salaries, no placements, and you actually stopped taking biotech students. So it was actually the wrong time you started biotech colleges. But right now, biotech revolution is happening, but there are no proper skilled manpower. So this is where we stepped into, and we built FABA Academy. In FABA Academy, what we try to do is that we try to take classes to students, and we built a small initiative called FABA Fridays. On every Friday, we sit with students and understand what is their pain point. And one of the main pain points that I see is that there are not that many role models that these kids can look up to. So that's where we're trying to build through FABA Academy. Many students, they finish masters, PhDs, no jobs, or otherwise, if they want to get a job, they will be starting at 12,000, 15,000, 18,000, and it's going to stay for a couple of years. So how, for them, it's better to become a Swiggy boy, right? Like somebody is getting 30,000, 40,000. So that's why they question like, sir, shall I go and get a Swiggy job? Or since I did biotechnology, I wanted to become a medical doctor, but since I couldn't crack NEET or MSET, that's why I'm taking biotechnology. That's a fancy word. So that's where we try to motivate them. And many of the colleges, when we talk to them about this life sciences, they don't have even a single pipette to do an experiment. So we built something called Finishing School, where the students can come. And it is actually a CSR project from Indian Immunologicals, like Dr. Anand Kumar was there today morning, right? So he is supporting us. Varaprasad Reddy sir from Shanta Biotech is supporting us. Many others are supporting us. So we are building some finishing labs where the students can come, pay bare minimum fee. So for each student, it will cost around 1 lakh for experiments, but we are taking 10,000 rupees, mainly to cover food for 1 month and transportation facilities to different industries. So that is where my heart actually broke when I really talked to students. All the students who are paying 10,000, they're all from tier 1 colleges or filthy rich people who are going to international schools. Somebody who is from tier 2, tier 3 cities, they don't pay 10,000. They want to buy an iPhone, but they really don't want to pay 10,000 and come to us. That's where I really feel like, they lack a lot of, mentorship, role modelship. This is a major dearth in life science industries. And because of them, the salaries are also staying at 15, 18,000. There's nobody questioning like why, if an IT engineer is getting hired with 40,000, why a biotech engineer is not getting paid? So people can blame, we are all, for FTE, we get, Google pays this much, but your Pfizer or somebody pays little, and your lot of infrastructure costs are little, but I think it's all about negotiation. I think we have to step up there. That's where FABA is trying to play a role. And another one is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is very difficult in biotech. I think Srikanth knows it, because there's a lot of patient capital is involved in biotech. But the thing is, the landscape is changing in India because of government's push. There is an entity called BIRAC. BIRAC has invested heavily in infrastructure development and giving early stage grants. But that is also stops at after 50 lakhs or 1 crore. After that, nothing really happens. That's where we also stepped in again under FABA Entrepreneurship. We started an initiative called Whale Tank, like Shark Tank, where we help startups, in growth stage. We have an event on November 14th at ISB Hyderabad, where around top 100 startups of India will be pitching there. We'll have around 50 venture capitalists and all the HNIs who, if you want to see the biotech landscape, you can come there. There are many problems this industry is facing. Leadership is also another issue. There are many new age therapies coming, like stem cell therapy. Nowadays, it's becoming very fascinating. Like everybody says, I'm going for PRP treatment for hair growth or knee surgery and everything, but many of them are not validated. They're not clinically proven. So that's where when you actually look for talent, like another one is cell and gene therapy. When you look for talent, there's no talent. There's very few, like many big companies, like for example, Bharat Biotech or Dr. Reddy's comes to us, do you have any expert who can deal with our cell and gene therapy? For example, Indian Immunologicals, they're looking for R&D head. It's very difficult to find proper talent, that's where I see that, at lower level there is a problem, at top level there is problem. So fundamentally the industry needs a lot of shift, the salary structure, the way how mentors, they perform their role. And with the advent of this new gig economy, it's very difficult for this industry nowadays. But people like us are playing a major role, and hopefully with all you will work together.
So, I mean, from what I hear you, can I conclude that like how Kyndryl and the IT tech companies, they are foraying into the campuses. Right now, the footprint of such lab-based training or lab classrooms, if we can call them, this is more like centralized with a location like, FABA. This is good to know, I think, which the students and the faculty can really avail these surveys. But I mean, the footprint of having sandboxes into the existing campuses is
No, it is happening. So for example, at Puttaparthi Institute, Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning, we are setting up our finishing school because they have infrastructure.
Good.
And SV University, Padmavati Mahila University, so there we are setting up. D.Y. Patil University in Pune, we are setting up. And GEET University in Bhubaneswar, we are setting up. So with our knowledge, we are trying to help. But it's not, I don't think we will be able to do everything that they are asking, because we need to send people there. Like mainly we need to send people from the industry who has experience sending there. So, but organizations like us has to go beyond. Like so many organizations like us has to form.
Great, yeah. I think, yeah, that helps in understanding the current state of how the life sciences industry as a whole demand versus, the kind of innovation cells or the innovation lab availability where the students can go, the faculty go and have their hands-on learning. The current state of that is clear. Thank you, Dr. Jagadeesh. Now I will move to the interesting part of, the industry that's, for me personally, is food processing, food manufacturing. I have a reason for that. My 9-year-old daughter, she is very much into, she wants to become a food entrepreneur. From the last 2 years, she's been 9-year-old daughter.
Wow, that's the new India.
So every time I take her to any of these centers, including our Chipula Reddy, our Srividyagari, the stores, she says like she does her lot of research there for her age. Anyways, so with respect to you, the food processing industry, it's not about just the product, the food, but there is a lot of story around the food, as I mentioned earlier. So what's happening between you, the industry, and your academic partners, or how are you trying to create your talent pipeline?
Cool. Yeah. So hi everyone, and very good evening. I would like to thank CII for giving me this opportunity, and I'm very humbled by this opportunity. And I would like to thank Mr. Srikanth and my co-panelists for giving me this opportunity. And we also chatted about what's happening in the industries, because we usually know about what happens in our industry, but the other side of the pictures are hardly known to us, in which there are a lot of co-learnings happen. So I'm thankful to all of you on that. Heading towards what Mr. Srikanth was talking about, I was also trying to correlate what's happening with other industries and what's happening with, I would try to refer me as my industry here, so with me specifically. I would like to take you through a journey using a framework which I just drafted on the mind while the go is through NPU, where N stands for need, P stands for potential, the U stands for underlined. So I'm going to take you through a story where net potential, the need and the potential is underlined through, again, the same 3 letters, where I would like to touch base on need, wherein the need from industry side is clarified and the need from academia is clarified. And this need can be converted into platforms where the engagement becomes much easier. And followed by that, through these platforms, to what extent both the sides, whether it's the industry side or the academia side, is utilizing these platforms. So I would like to try to take you all through this journey of what's going on in my mind and what is also going on in the company where I work. So I'm a homegrown boy in ITC. I joined ITC in 2013. I'm also one of the product of their platform called Kites Internship, where they come to colleges to offer an internship. I got my internship in third year, and then I joined ITC as an intern. I worked over there for 3 months and luckily got a pre-placement offer. And from then till date, I've been working with ITC. This is just a small example of what an industry can do to a person like me and to an academia like the college where I worked. And today, looking back 12 years, I can see my journey and proudly say and thank both academia and industry for making me stand where I stand. 12 years back, if someone had asked me, would you be heading a business of 500 crore with 1,000 plus employees, I would have laughed at myself and said, I don't know, I just come from a village, and what does that mean could have been the question at my mind. And that's what these two equations coming together can do to every individual who is getting into a college today. To give a head off of what is there in it in terms of the need. Just to take an example, and I'll try to maneuver through that. A factory of my size, which is located in Hyderabad in Telangana itself, houses an employment of around 1,000 people. The plus point about our industry, which is FMCG, is there is an opportunity and chance for every layer of talent, whether it is unskilled, skilled, or diplomats, or the degree holders, or the master degree holders. So it starts from casual laborers, goes up to ITI degree holders, go to BTech holders, and then master holders. So there is an opportunity for all. Where is the need? So what's the need for an industry in all these layers? As you see, the overall FMCG as a segment is around 220 billion by 2025 in India itself, out of which we as ITC is only 5% of it, 5 billion of it. But still we are number one in food manufacturing sector as on date. So that means if I just 220 by 5 is almost I would say around 25 times is the growth of, is the area to conquer. And similarly, there are so many other industries which are there. If one industry like ITC is going, I'm just going to tell what all ITC does, and if the same gets replicated across, what can happen can be the story that we can look at. So with this 5 billion of market potential that we are conquering right now out of 220, in one factory like Manoharabad, we house around 1,000 employees, in which we onboard almost around 50 people day in, day in every year at an ITI level, every month, sorry. Around 50 people are hired at an ITI level, around 5 to 10 managers are hired at a BTech level, and at a master level around 1 to 2. So it comes to almost around 80 graduates and around more than 800 casual laborers and more than around 200 of the ITI degree holders. The need that comes to an industry in this in all these three layers is the skill that they're supposed to have to do the work that they're supposed to do. Now this skill obviously doesn't get built entirely in college if the industry doesn't interact. So what we look as an industry in them is simple two things. Number one, do they have a basic understanding of a problem? How do they identify a problem? The second one, do they directly get into understanding what is the root cause which leads to the problem? If they can have these two sorted, the industries always help them to come to an execution mode. We don't expect them to learn everything from college and come. It's only these two aspects, independent of the layer, wherever you come in, is what an industry expects anyone to know. Whether you understand your problem and do you understand the root cause of the problem. This is the need of an industry. Now let's come to the need of an academia. Now when you teach a set of layers of students over here, whether it's BTech or ITI, when you're teaching, the need for an education industry is to ensure they're grasping all the knowledges that they need to when they get into industry, and then they exercise it, to just put in a simple statement. Now this need, how ITC is helping to embark or indulge into their initial stages is, we have different schemes where we adopt certain ITIs, and we develop infrastructure along with them under a scheme called Mission Sunhera Kal. This is the first step. Without infrastructure, again, expecting someone to teach is, I would say, a crime rather. So it's not right way of expectation. Followed by that, we also adopt certain professors who are teaching, or the faculties who are teaching in those ITI colleges, to come to our factory and see what do they do after they graduate, so that they understand what is the way of teaching them when they hit the floor. And we also offered some of the faculties to come and teach our ITI operators who had passed ITI to understand whatever they taught them in the college, was it really coming to use in the industry or not? Wherein they realized 80% of it was more of bookish, but only 10-20% of what it came to as use when they hit the floor. And hence, the important point that an industry has to play a role in academia is to make the faculty realize what students need by giving them experience of industry where the students are about to get into. And for that, we have a program where we shortlist certain faculties, we onboard them, and they come every 3 months to our factories, especially in our factory. And it's the new thing which we have started. It's not the universal law which is running around ITC right now. That's the new thing which we adopted by taking the learnings. So this is the need part of it, wherein I just covered on what is the need for the industry and what is the need for the academia. This is what need from the people point of view. Now, there is always a business. Whatever we say and whatever happens, everything comes back to buck sometimes. And hence, unless and until that is not answered, sometimes all the exercises we do becomes a tick mark. To ensure this doesn't become a tick mark and we give back to the society through making it as a business statement. Going from an industry need, what we identified was a factory of our size, which I was just mentioning, goes through a problem statements upwards to 100. And this number is, I'm talking about, in the last 6 months, I've manured through 100 problems. Now, I almost have around 82 managers, but they're not supposed to solve only problems. They're also supposed to manage the routine. These problems are over and above your routine. And hence, there is the need. At what rate are you willing to solve your problems? Is it by overloading the existing team and expecting something out of them which they have to stretch to solve, or developing and extending your arm towards partnership of academia, where please come to my industry and solve 50 for me, 30 I'll solve. Now here comes the money part of it. If you tie up with those academies with the right problem statements, to my personal experience, to talk about IRRs, it's upwards to 200%. And hence there is a business case. So the question of need for an industry is, every industry need to ask whether am I able to solve all my problems with the resources I have? And the answer will definitely be a no. You will not be able to solve all your problems with the resources. You need an extended hand, and industries start to ask that to the academias, wherein they can start collaborating. Now, the next need of making money, or I would say the money part to industry, the academia part is wherein they always need certain amount of funding to sail through their projects. Now, if there is a synergy built in between what an industry wants and what academia can do, the industries can fund those projects, and hence the cash flow happens seamlessly, and there is an IRR in it. So that's how you can solve the money part of the need as well in both industry and academia. And that's what we're also doing, wherein we have adopted some of the colleges, and we have shortlisted certain projects. We have also allocated certain funds, wherein, just to give an example, I think a couple of months back there was a flood near Kukapet, I guess, yeah. NH44 got blocked and the entire roadway got collapsed, and we were not having manpower coming to our factory for almost 3 to 4 days. This became a problem statement for us. So the need of the hour was to go and understand what happened. So entire factory management went to those villages. We stood there, we understood, we helped the needy ones. And in this process, we also understood that it's not that they were not willing to come to work. They wanted to come to work. It's because the roads collapsed, the connectivity completely went for a toss. The bus pickup points were 2 to 3 kilometers away from their houses. In such rainfall, how will they walk from house to bus pickup point where there is no means of transportation? And then it came down to a problem statement wherein we just collaborated with one of the college, and we told them the problem statement, and some of our people started working with them, wherein we built a tool within, I think, 48 hours, to be on dot, 48 hours, wherein we built a tool in which we started loading all the GPS location of all my people, topped up by the weather conditions, topped up by the villages, festivals, all those things that happen in and around the area, to predict a model on what can go wrong in which locality, because of which the connectivity can be lost. And hence, can you be well prepared for such situations and try to also re-strategize your hiring policies than hiring from certain remote location to certain other locations. And this is the power of right collaboration, what you can do. And all happened in 48 hours. That's the, I think, the tech that is evolving in today's situation and how easy the tools are becoming. And the people who solved it were second-year BTech students. And it was just because the interest they had and the purpose which they had to solve. So this is the need part of it. So I just gave an example so that you all can correlate to what I'm talking to and what I went through, so that I can inspire more and take more along with me when I end this overall session. Followed by the platforms, wherein, as I just mentioned, we have created platforms at every layer, starting from the ITI colleges where we adopt. We have some BTech colleges, we have wherein we start the engagement from second year, third year, and fourth year. We have the platforms like the one I came through, Kite's internship platform. There are platforms of direct hiring. There are platforms of industrial projects where we offer them in right to right time to engage with. So these platforms I see is a function of industry and the academia requirement. So I would urge more and more people to invent more and more platforms and offer it back to the world so that we can learn and then try to adopt more and more of them. Coming to the utilization part, the NPU, the U part, the last part, we feel the hiring is a function of financial year. Let's hire once the academy is over. Let's launch a project when the March is over. Let's take interns during June. So the question that we asked internally was why? Who made this financial year? Does problem come only when the financial year ends? Definitely no. Does it come only when a graduate comes out of fourth year? Definitely no. Does it come only in summer vacations? Absolutely no. And hence the question came, what is your utilization level of talent and the problem statements which you have in industries as well as in academia? So we thought of signing MOUs with all the academies around me, and right now there are 2 MOUs underway around my factory, and we want to make it upwards to 100 in the year to come. And hence this platform and trying to engage with more academias coming over here, in which there is inflow of projects or the problem statements built in, independent of who is graduating when, which year is happening when, financial year. It's about the need. A prof is interested, there is an MOU signed, 50 problems statement offloaded to an academia. Interested people can enroll and then hop in and then start off the project. Because all the other barriers that you have created is human-made. And I don't think it should sustain the way it should, looking at the rate at India needs to grow. And hence, that's what we wanted to unlock through the U part, which is the utilization part, wherein both industries and academia can be unlocked completely, independent of the timelines or the events. So I think with that, I would like to end my story of sharing, where I just explained the NPU part.
No,
there are more to come, and yeah, I think in the time
stories
to come,
are the best way to learn. Even that is part of our pedagogical evolution. So treat these as learning sessions rather than just the think tanks, because nowadays emerging spaces, the learning happens through such kind of panel lectures. I would call them as panel lectures rather than panel discussions. Why? Because this is the real-time knowledge that we are all sourcing in from their corporate world, from their day-to-day experiences. This is the real-time knowledge, that's it. So this can't be published, and if it has to be published as a use case, the case studies, it will take at least 6 months to 1 year. That's no more relevant. So for the relevant times, these sessions are more like storytelling format of lectures. So thank you for that. So when the academician kicks in, I know, those factors will change.
So I'll just add on to his point, just to give a number to it. Let's say a factory of my, what I was talking about, we have around, let's say, 50 problems. There are 9,600 factories in Telangana. So it takes the overall clock to more than 1.2 lakh projects and in one state. And if I look at India, it will be more than, I think, definitely 10 to 15 lakh projects. This is just what we came up with in the last 3-4 months. If every industry and academia starts doing it, I'm sure at least 50% of the talent will get utilized and put on to, I would say, right use and developing solutions for India.
Now, when the NEP and now the upcoming Telangana education policy mandates this kind of student engagement into problem solving. So be it at the college campus or within their circles, or if industry can really provide, because industry I don't think can provide for crores of graduates coming out of the colleges, because recently in the NARDPR, the National Institute of Rural Development workshop, I was told every year in India 1.5 to 1.8 CR graduates from the college, they move into the market, and from 8.5 crore 10th grade graders to 4.5 at the +2, and then those who graduate out of the colleges are 1.5 plus CR. So industry offering the internships or work opportunities while they are in their programs is impossible. That we have to understand. And I think what Anand was mentioning, this NPU model is something that we would love to, recommend to the government. And with respect to this kind of the scale of problems that are existing, if they can be sourced into such platforms, and which can be consumed by the students, and we need to identify those mechanisms, those governing mechanisms, and of course the resources which are required to solve these problems are something that part of this discussion let's see where we will, what we will derive from these discussions. So from Anand's point, I really understood one thing. So in the problem solving exercises, when it comes to design, I don't think we really need any kind of a lab, because design per se, we can all start off with, at least what we have, paper, pen, and then small time prototyping and stuff, because we do that at my, boutique institution, that's 6D Varsity, and with the kids as well as with grads, undergrads, location is not at all a problem. So that is proven. So design internships are something that all you need is the right problem statements. When it comes to developing them, when it comes to creating a prototype of it, that is when, if it's a soft lab situation like how Madhuri Garu mentioned, then definitely procuring a lab or facilitating or getting a lab, yeah, it's pretty much licensing, and now free licensing also, freemium models are allowing us to really go and realize the prototyping. And one of my friend in the room, Kalyan, he recently introduced me to something called superengineer.ai, wherein earlier whatever this small time app development, which used to take at least 1 week, with the prompt engineering stuff and everything, he and myself, we just created something in a span of hardly 15 minutes, which I know maybe in 2000s, when I was doing my master's and all, 2005 and all, it is a 1 month effort, 1 to 2 months. And for my competency, without this AI and stuff, it would have been like 15 days effort, but now it's hardly 15 to 30 minutes. We just created everything in, just like 15, 30 minutes. So these kind of lab infra is something that again demands cost, but not in the dry lab scenario compared to the wet lab scenario. And at scale is something that I am thinking of, where the challenges will be in terms of upgrading the existing lab infra. This is where I'm looking from right now, whatever we have discussed, except for the IT tech, they are having an outward approach of moving into the campuses. But for the life sciences and the food processing, I think because it's more resource intensive, they're having, the students and faculty come to their locations and their academies and then, try hands on there. But if this has to scale, things have to be on a different scale. That is where these, the education policies, when they're creating, right? I think some kind of a funding, it could be corporate or it could be some kind of a schemes from the government or some kind of alternative models should emerge in terms of the financial modeling of such laboratories or the workshops, which can be incorporated into the academic campuses. And I think here, from the vast experience that you have with respect to handling the investments, ROI, and this kind of a gamut, I think, Mr. Srikanth, would you like to add upon how things would unfold when we are really trying to scale it at least at a scale of Telangana to begin with, and then this is more of a simulation, but I think we can extend more on this. Thank you.
So your question is, how can corporates get into campuses?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So starting on a dampener, it's very difficult, right? Because see, what happens is, as long as it's CSR or it's more like project or internship based, it's a demand supply give and take. But the moment corporates step in with a serious intention of investing in a particular entity or resources, they are looking for ROI, right? So unless they see something promising, no corporate is going to come forward unless it's part of the CSR, as I said, or any other initiative. But if it's going to just come purely from the balance sheet, they are reporting back to the shareholders or in the board meeting or to the exchanges. So there comes the seriousness, right? So my day job is I run a venture capital fund, but the reason probably Srikanth, my namesake, has me over here is because I'm also on the investment committee of BIRAC and on IIIT on the investment committee of Deep Tech and the MedTech Accelerator, as well as CCMB, which is again Department of Science, Biotechnology, Department of Biotechnology as well. So, there we actually try and do the industry academia connect, right? Apart from probably giving some grants and maybe few tens of lakhs and things like that in terms of funding, or you call it grants. In some cases funding, in some cases grants. We also try and help these, student professor kind of, startups to help them get in touch with academia, get them their first customer, maybe help them with some kind of hiring, maybe also help them with maybe some AWS credits, things like that, right? So apart from funding and mentoring. However, the fact remains, and it's not something new that I'm sharing. A lot of times, just because, there is a certain grant or there is a certain, machinery or the infrastructure is provided, a lot of the PhDs and the postdocs are probably working on the same kind of technology field and projects for almost a decade or more, right? They probably have very little or no industry relevance, and therefore there is no demand for what they are doing. And no wonder, those salary numbers that we heard are probably not very attractive, right? But they're probably just happy because they're funded and, life's going on. So what is really important when we talk about corporate is innovation. If there is a particular innovation, it could be in textile, it could be in food, it could be in software, it could be in any of the areas, climate tech, health tech, deep tech, any of the areas where a corporate can leverage, monetize, commercialize, then the corporate steps in more seriously. So our innovations have to be geared up and aligned with what is actually relevant today than what was probably 10 years back I started and I'm still working because somebody is funding me or giving me a grant. Then, therefore, you're not very relevant. So to expect a corporate to step in and to give you meaningful support and not just lip service or just few lakhs of grant just so it goes into the CSR, I think a lot of work also has to start happening at the grassroots level in the campuses, wherein the campuses and the coordinators should be proactive to go to corporates and say, here we have 1,000 kids or 500 kids, these are their backgrounds, this is what they can do, what are your real-time problems, just, give us, we have candidates, from first year to fourth year with these backgrounds and, take a bet on us and then they start showing the results. Maybe the third, fourth year kids, by the time they pass out 2-3 years, the corporate industry academia will will improve and you may start seeing still very low, but some kind of tangible results. So otherwise, if I'm assuming the question is that how do you get corporates into campuses, with a very altruistic motive, very tough. I mean, see, in corporates, everybody is like working, I was heading a large $5 billion group's investment, 4 listed entities and, a bunch of others. Everybody is just tied up with one thing that, the next quarter board meeting, I'm answering the analyst call. So, have I met my quarterly targets? Have I met my revenue targets? Even in large corporates, the focus on innovation, R&D is there somewhere at the back of the mind, but it doesn't translate immediately into action because they're only looking at the next quarter results very often, right? I'm not trying to generalize it or oversimplify, but even in corporates to kind of think of innovation, first invest in about innovation and R&D in their own company and then take it out and work with students, higher research institutes and likes of those has to happen, but it is pretty slow, but that's the direction it has to go. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Srikanth, for those inputs. Yeah, as you know, very clearly, the statement is, if it is CSR grant, it's more around impact, okay? It's more like we're trying to serve the society. So be it the talent incubation or talent plus product incubation, trying to solve some kind of a problem, with the solution, it doesn't matter with respect to the quality or with respect to the service level agreements, doesn't come into picture there. But the real industry, when anybody who is working in a job, there is a team time and cost factor that comes into picture. So this is the most important thing that every working professional will learn once they actually get into the cost. Because team, yes, they have to work with a team, and there are a lot of factors, and the time factor, and most importantly, the cost factor that comes into the picture. And when the cost is coming to the picture, the ROI is something that every organization will look for. So if we are expecting the campuses to become as industry incubators and pitch in to a position where we are offering them to solve the business problems, and this will has to happen. I mean, this will happen, or this has to happen for the reason the AI. From the morning, we have been discussing what AI is doing. So whatever the last 20 years or 30 years of white-collar revolution, wherein in whatever format of graduates coming out, their work is being taken over by our co-workers. So this kind of cognitive work, which demands some kind of domain knowledge, which demands some kind of SOP knowledge, which demands some kind of review of the literature that is being generated at work, and based on that, some kind of a decision making has to happen. This is now moved into the digital workforce, that is the robotic workforce, which we cannot see, but yeah, they are sitting, as the agentic AI or whatever the fancy names we give. So, for the graduate who is coming out of a college now, the baseline is shifting. That is, their baseline 10 years back versus today versus for the next 5 to 10 years, the higher order work until today will come down as their baseline work. So if I call it as lower order work, middle order, and the higher order work, right? So somebody whom we are bringing in from ITIs or the Polytechnic, they fall between lower order and middle order. And from somebody who's coming from the actual academic campuses, the university education, they take up works from middle order to higher order. Now this order is completely just like, it's chopped down. And for the ITIs and Polytechnics, they are also using these kind of AI and technology tools, and they are bringing in the hybrid work skills into their jobs. And when it comes to the undergrad and grad level education, that's the university level education, so just imagine the kind of a higher order work that they have to take up. And here, whatever the discussions was happening, right? So around the design, the complex problems comes into picture comparatively. I mean, the baseline shift is what I'm referring to. When this baseline shift has happened, the problem statements that flow from the industry will have a more complexity. And to solve these complex problems, the industry, if they are ready to invest or if they have to get ready to invest, I think your answer is, yeah, the team time cost factors have to be trained, or, that is something that we have to induce into every professional and into the faculty as well. So this is one requirement that I foresee from now on. So there are a lot of efforts that is going on. With respect to the infrastructure, we understood it's something that, it's capital intensive with respect to life sciences and, manufacturing sector. That I think the governments are addressing with some kind of thing, schemes and other things. But when it comes to the culture, work culture, when it comes to the skills, I think now we understand that a baseline shift is happening.
No, so I just want to put it in the right perspective.
Yeah.
Is that two things. One is you have to be solving a real problem, and then you have to solve a problem which is relevant to the times also, right? So right time, right place is very important. So as long as that kind of innovation is happening in campuses, corporates may come, investors may come, everybody will come. Investors will make a beeline. That could be as corporates or, vanilla financial investors like us or anybody. So what is very important is when we talk about innovation, research, a real tangible problem, simple solution, and which is relevant to the times. So that's very important. Not to if you're kind of working on something which is just you're passionate about, close to your heart, but not relevant to the times because you're getting grant funding, as I mentioned before, then maybe there are not many takers for it, right? So those 2 points I just want to emphasize on.
Got it.
Then investment will come sooner or later in some form or the other.
Yes.
So I don't think that's really a problem. Of course, if there are 1,000 people, maybe 100 of them may get funded, but that's fine. These 100 can probably create a lot more jobs and then a lot more entrepreneurs. That's how every industry works.
Now, this is an existing, I think, scenario or a culture in the West and few developed nations. I think now we'll have to catch up with this kind of a culture. So, in cognizance of time, it's already 5 o'clock. So, I would like to each of our panelists to just give their closing remarks or one-liners that they feel like, the academia as well as the industry and the policy makers with respect to the policy or any kind of a governance or any kind of a new innovation that can happen in that space that you feel can go into our panel discussion, our audience here as well as our future audience who are going to read our Edu Summit report. So over to you, Madhuri.
Um, with so many GCCs moving in and with the kind of requirements that the companies have across the globe, and especially India being one of the favorite place for the GCCs for in terms of skills availability, what I would think is, I mean, in bits and pieces and pockets, most of the companies are doing it. But we do still see, and the pipeline for the talent is from the campuses. And that is very, very crucial. In my honest opinion, or the urge here would be, I think, to scale up, we need government intention. It cannot be a random one. I think it has to be at the purpose as to how we train and how we deliberately get that skills into the corporate world is a must. And it's a need, especially for a country like India, where we are propelling at the speed of the jet. We need to catch up with it.
Jagadeesh garu, please. Thank you.
I actually don't know what exactly to add on because everything is relevant. I think I'll stick to my field of work, biotechnology. So it's a broad. I'm talking about agriculture. I'm talking about animal health, plant health, human health, planetary health, space biology. Everything I'm talking about. The field will be there. It's gonna rock. I think whatever was IT long ago, now biotech is that if you have college, if you have branches of biotech, or if you don't have, do start it. I think this is the time. And if any help needed, we are here to empower you.
Thank you. Anand.
So mostly said. I think I'll try to put it around purpose. I was just wondering about how to stitch it all together. So because in different industries have different need, academies have different need. But if you look at the entire ecosystem, what we just discussed, independent of industries and the academia or the industry, everything revolves around the purpose of a human being, where every human being has its own interest, can be in FMCG, can be in IT, can be in, the ways and approaches are different. But for an individual, when they start from an academia to their epitome of excellence in career, the touch points are common. It's about knowledge absorption. It's about experimentation in different fields. It's about learning curve where you convert your knowledge and experiments into excellence. Then from excellence, you try to excel by performing. These 4 stage gates remain common, independent of industry, the path that you take from the source you originate. And hence, if every industry expert can come together and tap these 4 critical paths around the purpose of an individual for every industry and create platforms at these 4 nodes between industry and academia, I think we can have a beautiful framework where a lot of opportunities will open up and everyone can tap into that. And as industry, we are always welcome to do whatever best we can in that.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Srikanth garu.
Okay, so very quickly, I think my 2 cents in terms of ultimate goal for students coming out of education institutions or even researchers from higher institutes of higher research and all is either probably to come up with a product service solution wherein you become an entrepreneur, or you want to find a good job in a good company or so. So in today's times, it was always relevant, but in today's times, it's even more relevant in the AI era that everybody should have cross-functional skills. So, AI is more of an enabler, right? All of us understand that. It's not like you're going to lose it, not get a job because you don't know how to kind of, build an LLM. But if you don't know how to kind of, as she said, on the agentic side of things or, applications of AI. So therefore, let's say you're a biology, microbiology, any of that, marrying science with technology. So those kind of cross-functional skills will probably enable and that's something that has to happen in the US. Most of you would have seen, I would have done my undergrad in something, my grad and then post-grad, and then we kind of marry those skills, and I may be working in a completely different field, and then I kind of build over in terms of my experience. For India, today that's very relevant because just being a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer or just even MBBS, doctors for that matter, let's say in the field of radiology and pathology, AI is making big waves. So if you don't kind of keep up with that, then maybe you will become a little bit redundant, if not fully. You will still need a physical doctor for many things, but then marrying those kind of, medicine and technology, or any of those engineering and technology, hard basic engineering branches and technology. So I would say that's really the need of the hour. So maybe our courses or the encouragement from government bodies or industries is that, because we all face this problem that, we don't have, today we want biotechnology, he's saying we don't have those students because 10 years back, everybody just wanted to take a particular branch. Back in our times, everybody only wanted to take computer science or EC, right? And then there was this whole civil engineering wave, then, you don't find. So, but it's very relevant that people have cross-functional skills, and, so those, I would leave on that note saying to acquire those should be the goal. And you'll become, very sought after, because that's the need of the hour.
Perfect. I think these inputs from all our distinguished panelists will really help the governments and the academic world really, step up into the next higher order, workforce creation from our campuses. And I thank everyone on this note for taking your very precious time out of your busy schedules, being a work, a Thursday, a working day. And I just conclude the session with this now. Thank you.
We thank all the participants for staying us till now. There are 2 reports available. You can download them by scanning these QR codes. One report which we have released it in the morning, that is, we have captured the data of Center of Excellences located in our member colleges in Telangana. This was a suggestion given by Ravichandran Garu, and we have captured around 15 colleges Center of Excellences profiles, which would be a very useful document. And another document which we have CII Telangana Education Skills Panel team has prepared is professors of industry professionals who are available as professors of practice from the both engineering background and management background. These 2 documents could be downloaded using these QR codes. Thank you very much. Our sincere thanks to all sponsors, Anurag University, BVRIT, G. Narayanamma Institute of Science and Technology and Science, Kakatiya Institute of Technology and Science, and corporate contributor Vasvi College of Engineering, and our technical partner 6D. Thank you very much Satya Garu and Srikanth Garu and entire your team for helping us to bringing out this Center of Excellences document. Thank you all. We also thank all panel members of Education and Skills panel for their guidance and support.